What's up, guys? Jared Welch, RacingDudes.com, here to take a look at the pre-entries for next Saturday's Longines Breeders' Cup Turf. The pre-entries are out for all 14 Breeders' Cup races. Obviously, we'll find out the official fields next week, and then it's all systems go. But let's take a look here at the Breeders' Cup Turf. It's a 1.5 mile race for 3-year-olds and up on the turf. For $4 million. It did draw 17 horses in the pre-entries. I'll just go through the names, and you can make fun of my pronunciations later. Augusta Rodin, Ball Ladder, Bull Showy Ballet, Broom, Get Smoking, Gold Phoenix, King of Steel, Most Def. I like to call this horse Most Def. Ernesto Piz Badil, Raptors, Shahir, Up to the Mark, and Warlike Goddess. I think I did all right there. And then you also have Ahadmo, Master of Foxhounds, and Celis. So 17 total on the pre-entries. And, I did the juvenile turf earlier. And this race is, there's like the two, like when it comes to turf, like these are the two most dominant turf races we have when it comes to the Euros. You look at the last 15 years, it's been won by Euros, 12 of them. 12 of the last 15 years, you've had a Euro winner, and it's just been that kind of, it's been a combination of some things. One, we just don't have those superstar turf horses over here, and then you just get that one or two that come over from overseas and just look way better. And so that's kind of the factor. And going into this, the pre-entries, I kind of was starting to get warm up to the idea of like, okay, maybe Up to the Mark. He's clearly a U.S. horse to beat. Maybe Up to the Mark is just going to be like, you look back a few years ago with Bricks and Mortar, who just clearly was the best horse in the world at that time. And maybe Up to the Mark is that way, no matter who comes over, we just don't have a crazy good international contingent to kind of face him. Well, I think we got some, I'm actually pretty impressed with the list here of what we got coming over. And it starts with Most Def. This is a horse that kind of got in by accident, so to speak. Was going to run at Ascot in the Champion Stakes last week. The ground came up too soft. This is a horse that likes a firmer turf. The ground came up too soft. This is going to be the last race of his career, and they didn't want him to run that race and obviously give his last race of his career be on a surface he doesn't enjoy. And so they kind of pivoted from that. And here we are coming to the Breeders' Cup. Hey, guess what? If you want a fast, firm turf, there's not many places better than Santa Anita turf at the Breeders' Cup. So that's what they're going to get. I love the fact that this is a horse that's showing up for this race. And you look at the, kind of the past performances of him, past that, the Arc last October, this year he's been really awesome. Other than the Dubai Shima Classic, which, by the way, it looks misleading. You see, fourth beaten 7. Equinox, if you remember, was in that race, could have won by 20. I mean, unbelievable performance. And on top of that, you have, this horse, Musadef, tracked him the whole way around, gave it a run there top of the stretch, but clearly was overmatched and then kind of faded to fourth. But Equinox, he was right there with the rest of the group. Just Equinox just extended down the lane. It was really, really impressive victory. But prior to that, 1 by 7 over there in Saudi was awesome. And then after that, won the Prince of Wales. Back-to-back Group 1 wins for this guy coming into this race. And what I think is most impressive, you go back in the Prince of Wales, the horse goes from last to first and wins and does it easily. And then you go back in the Judd Mountain International, Dettori got the ride. I do think Crawley was either suspended or injured. I don't remember the regular jockey, but Dettori kind of made a decision with the owner and the trainer and stuff that, hey, let's send this horse. It was a smaller field. Let's send this horse to the lead because Paddington was in that race. That was the only way they felt like they could beat the horse. The horse goes gate to wire and wins. So you love the fact that it's a horse that is versatile, goes from last, comes from, can win. He's got that tactical speed. We saw a little bit of that tactical speed as well in Dubai as well as in Saudi. So this horse is obviously versatile, doesn't need a certain kind of pace in order to be dominant. And, one of the things I was concerned with him was the The distance perhaps maybe isn't to his liking. And I thought it was very what was said about from the connections. And I think it's interesting. So I wanted to share. It's like, so Adam, in America, they don't believe the 1.5 miles is going to be any issue with him, especially with the distance of 1.5 miles at Santa Anita, which the first, like 4 furlongs or so are on the downhill, right? They start up kind of halfway up and they go down. So you kind of have that downhill part of the race too, which is going to aid in a horse that maybe doesn't want to go quite that long or whatever. So I think for him, especially getting that fast surface as well, not going to be an issue whatsoever. So the distance is not what's going to beat him. So what is going to beat him, I think it's just, honestly, I just think it's up to the mark is that good. Like that to me is the only thing. When you look at the rest of the Euro contingent, which obviously needs to be talked about considering how dominant they've been, Augusta Rodin is the horse that coming over. 3-year-old, it's tough for a 3-year-old to win this race. So I'm going to pause a little bit on that. Aiden O'Brien will also have Bolshoi Ballet in this race as well. And so you kind of wonder who's going to ride who. You can maybe John Velasquez gets Bolshoi Ballet since he rode him last out in the Sword Dancer, which he did look pretty good. Augusta Rodin has been good, not awesome. I mean, I think he's a very good horse. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this is a horse that's won 6 of 9 starts. He just won a Group 1, the Irish Champion Stakes. Very nice horse. But when it comes to this kind of level, this kind of, older horses, it's going to be tough. Would I be shocked if he won? No, but I just think it's going to be a little bit of a uphill battle for him to get the job done here. Ernesto is one. Ernesto's one that I think I'm most interested in. Not most def. Just from a standpoint of this is a horse that's faced a lot of really good fields, has been in a lot of good races. Spiral is going to be in is going to be in the mile. Has faced that horse in the past. This is Shahir. He's faced him in the Japan Cup, the last race in the Arc. Ran a really nice third to Ace Impact, who's a nice horse as well. So Augusta Rodin did beat him in the Irish Champion Stakes, so there's that. But I think Ernesto will be a much bigger price as well. So I think there's kind of that side of it as well. And then I mentioned Shahir, the Japanese horse. You got to respect just from a standpoint of the Japan contingent and what they've been doing at the Breeders' Cup, but hasn't been great this year. Has ran twice this year in Maidan and then once in Japan and has not been good whatsoever. So has shown it in the past, right? I mean, he's going to be one of those that you gotta play. Perhaps, I mean, did face Equinox, was beaten, finished 5th, beaten 3 3/4. But I mean, that's pretty respectable when you talk about Equinox. So could it happen? Sure. It'd be a little bit of a surprise, in my opinion, if Shahar were to win. I didn't even mention Warlike Goddess. I don't know. I was kind of against her kind of after like this summer, and then she kind of back and win the Turf Classic last time out. I get why they're in the race. This is a distance that she most likes. She's got 7 wins and 9 starts at this distance. It's just, I don't know that she can get the job. I mean, it'd be a hell of a way to end. Like, you got to think this is her last race. It'd be a hell of a way to end her career with a win in the Breeders' Cup Turf against this kind of field. But I think the waters might be a little too deep. By the way, up to the mark in here, if he were to win against this field, beating Most of Def, and as well as the rest, I think he's the horse of the year. I mean, how could he not be? I get that, especially, I guess it would depend. I don't know that it depends. I was going to say maybe it depends on what happens in the Classic, but really, you look at this horse this year, has rattled off 3 straight Grade 1 wins. If he were to win the Breeders' Cup, that'd be 4 straight Grade 1 wins of the year. I mean, what more can you ask for from the guy? And it could be that perfect setting for a year that we have a horse on the turf that could win Horse of the Year. So interesting to see what happens here. Hell of a race. It's the best race on the card, in my opinion, on Saturday. I like Most of Def as it stands right now. Super excited to see this kind of play out. But make sure you wait and see kind of who ends up coming over, who doesn't come over, who's on who. That's a very important decision with these international horses. Let me know your comments below. Who do you like in the turf? Who do you think is going to win? Who do some of the long shots you might be playing? Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tons of more YouTube content, Breeders' Cup content headed your way. Until next time, see you guys.
RacingDudes.com is your home for the best free picks for every race, every track. It's Breeders' Cup season, and we've got wall-to-wall coverage of the World Championships. Subscribe to YouTube.com/RacingDudes right now. Click the notification bell. You never want to miss a single video. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.